Good morning, Wizards, and welcome back to another well overdue market breakdown. It's currently 2 a.m. here in the UK, and we've finally had our current weekly candle closure. So it's time to start putting even more focus now on what's potentially about to unfold over the current and existing week. So going over to BTC on the weekly, you can see we are already seeing a pullback off this huge indecisive candle that I did project would be commencing by the end of the week. Now, as you can see, we've seen a huge spike up to around $9,200, and we're already pulling lower, as you can see. I'm currently in two minds about the current market situation, as I do believe there could be another attempt to breach the $9,200 to $9,400 region. And I believe what we are currently seeing is a small intraday or early week pullback, triggering, I would say, around $8,600 to $8,400. My buy orders are set around $8,400 and around $8,450 in the event we do see a pullback to around $9,400. Now, my current theory is this is going to be the final phase of euphoria for the market, where the bulls are trapped into a sucker rally and we do not actually manage to break $10,000. This is my current theory. I'm going to obviously see how this unfolds over the course of this week, but for now I do believe we are slowly starting to see the final push. We are going to see a final wick hunt, I believe, as many people would have been short around here, so we should be retesting these wicks around here one final time as well. Going over to the daily, as you can see, we've still got those higher highs and higher lows. The only difference is now is technically we do have at last a lower high forming, so the higher highs and higher lows are technically coming to an end. Although we do have the higher lows over here, this could become the first lower high. So waiting to see how this unfolds, but I do believe we could be seeing that breach down to and even retesting where that prior wick is there, around 8,300. So as you've seen all day today on Twitter and on the Telegram itself, I've actually closed the majority of my positions now, and any of the longs running from here have stop losses pulled down to around this region. So all I'm doing is playing this market very smartly in two different ways. If I go back to this BTC chart here, you can see after breaking this level, we've rejected 3 times now, and we could easily just be pinging back to the upside over here. We also have a huge counter trend that's been broken. We're also due to hopefully test this at some point, which does correlate quite nicely, even if it takes a few days to reach that 9,000 barrier. Well, I will be looking to finally start taking the majority of my profits, and if we do see a surge up to $9,400, I will very simply just take the final amounts of profits there and start identifying trend reversals. But in saying that, I could even be identifying shorts around here, especially if we fail to break $9,100. But overall for me, this is looking like an extreme final movement for the market. So we've broken through this level here. The rejections here are very clear. We do have a key moving average over here as well, around 8,500. We also have a key trend line here. That's just the rough trend line, but of course, if we extend this out, this could really continue all the way out to around there. And then extending this further, we've also got this trend line as well. So it's a bit of a choppy trend line, but overall the same guidelines do apply. And I do believe there is going to be, hopefully, this is why I have buy orders set, because I'm not looking to actually short the market down to these levels. I'm already long, so it's been an incredible week. We had the short come through down to $8,200. I didn't even manage to catch the short myself. I had my stop loss closed out at break even and a tiny bit of profit upon this movement. And again, it just shows a perfect example of why I continuously say not to FOMO in and follow the likes of crypto Twitter or anything else. Stick to your guns, stick to your bias. And one thing I've learned over this past week in particular, after almost 2,000 pips in calls given, you have to be patient and you have to actually let the market come to you. And as we can see now, the market is dropping even further, and I do really believe this could be coming through to a potential pullback of that $8,400 region. So the BitMEX buy orders are set up on that, and I'll be manually executing these even further on the Hugo's Way MetaTrader 4 platform as well. So the same principles also apply for XRP. As you can see, and as I actually covered on Twitter, I said we will be pulling up to around 0.445. And then pulling back down to potentially even 0.432. But I do believe this could be peaking now at around 0.425. From there, this would be a huge stop hunt for those that are expecting a bullish breakout. I'll be looking to enter even more longs around this region to ride that final rally up. the biggest confluence of this movement for me and why we may not even breach that final level. I do believe there's going to be one more climb higher, even if it's back to the prior wicks, where this huge weekly trend line on XRP is forming. So putting this aside, if we do see that $9,400 push, then by all means we can start looking at around 55 to around 60 cents on XRP. But for now, I'm just disregarding that. Let's keep it nice and clean. The main focus is, of course, the daily movements here. One final wick hunt. We've got a double top over there as well. Again, even if it is just a breach here, I'll be very cautious. But the most important thing is we have a trade that we've caught from here, from the very lows. And if I go over to the platform right now, you can see we've got the trend line over here, looking to potentially test this. However, I feel it's going to be a very false move and actually peak around this level here. So looking at this level, I believe we'll be retesting this region once more to invalidate and wipe out many of the bulls who believed it was just going to be an instant run up and then catch the move back to the upside. The reason we can actually catch these counteractive moves is because we've entered such a good position here. Stop losses have been secured in profit. It's been an incredible week for profit so far. And regardless of what happens now, all of these upside levels, I'll just drag this down to around there. So even with the small moves left, we've already closed out around 3,500 profit. Here we're looking at another 3k profit, give or take as well. So it's looking pretty good from this side. Everything's looking positive. Going over to XRP, running over here as you can see. And here we have the trend line forming as well. So I've put this stop loss here in the event we do see a potential pullback. But I do believe with that 425 to 0.43 region being tested, it could very well trigger my buy order, well, my stop loss. And then from there, I would just simply re-enter at the similar price with a much larger position size and a very tight stop loss. So again, simply due to the fact these entries have been very good. Of course, BTCs were a lot more precise, but this is looking like a massive downside drop to me. And if you can see this from now, even if this drops down to 8.4 and triggers my orders here, I have more than enough room to go for a risk-free trade. And looking at it this way, I believe a final test to the upside, even if it's an intraday movement, simply back to this region, I would just look to take profits regardless. I just feel like there's going to be a final push before we really see the big move unfold. Looking on a weekly perspective here, huge indecisive candle as well. We've seen these candles many times over, again, as you can see here. Maybe just a final test up to this region, but overall, this could be the very final move we see in the market. And do believe that's a Fibonacci as well. And although I do not use the MetaTrader 4 platform for analysis, that's a perfect, as you can see, 78.6 fib. So all factors for me are really pointing to the downside. And I do believe it's going to be the final pump and the bullish euphoria is finally over. I think this huge psychological level, as we said, we've got the trade wars going on with China and the US right now. China saying the US are untrustworthy. And again, all of this has been factored in, and you do not need to look at fundamental analysis because the price action is painting the entire picture for you. So for me right now, the final areas, I'll actually disregard $9,600 for now. Should we start breaking above this level, then I'll just leave those longs running and just slowly push the stop losses higher. But overall, I really cannot complain because it's been an entirely risk-free trade. Going over to BitMEX as well. As you can see here, looking at this level, trend line, leaving that order there around 8,400 in the worst case scenario, 100,000 contracts, 8,405, just to leave a little bit of breathing room around that 8,400 region. Again, I'm just leaving there just in case if it does only pull down and starts pulling back from around 8,450, I'll simply just manually enter and leave this order here to enter a second position as well, should it really dip down to that level. But again, I predicted this. I did say this would all be coming through. It could be a potential pullback, and that's the beauty of entering those sniper entries. You're buying yourself room and time to have risk-free trades and counteract both moods of the market. So for those of you who are new to the Telegram, and even in particular for this specific scenario, the reason I've been very transparent with all these trades is because of the majority of crypto Twitter. Again, you've got all these cartoons, all these people just talking rubbish, but even though these people are just showing technical analysis charts, no one's showing proof they can actually trade. No one's proving they are who they say they are. That's why I've been showing my real life face, real life character, all the live trades, the stop loss analysis, just to show you that I'm actually backing up what I'm saying and I'm doing exactly every single step that I'm telling you. And it's also to give you a bit more of a clearer insight into the strategies I use, how It can be frowned upon in the community by old school traders or whoever they are. I do not really care. But the point is, I am trying to show a different approach to trading and how it can actually work by either layering your orders, adjusting stop losses, taking profit along the way. I'm just showing you that by taking those profits, you are massively securing yourself in the event of any sharp pullbacks. And that's the beauty of these entries. So let's just say with this entry here, here's a good theory. Let's just say we're riding that to $9,400 there. We had the stop loss over here. We had a huge immediate pullback. Now, let's just say we start anticipating these pullback regions and this price suddenly dips down to around 8,400. All I would simply do is leave that there to around 8,400. This would now be way in profit. The stop loss would now be, just for a visual perspective, seeing as we are going down that route right now. Should I do this or the ray? The ray's already red. Let's just say the stop loss is now, I could either put it break even with this entry. So this closes in profit and this one now is risk free. Even if there is a bit of a pullback, the profit here would counteract any loss made from this trade should the stop loss be hit. What I would do, simply move this in profit as I've done with the BTCs that were all stacked up at the bottom, close them out around here. So now that that's been triggered, anything that pulls down here, I've got one more position left that's actually in break even as well, which is this main trade. So if it pulls back here, this will still not be triggered. All that will happen is this will be triggered as well. I will still have a risk-free trade. I've taken profits all the way from this movement here, including XRP. The same principles have applied to every single scenario. And going over to this 1 hour, guys, I think this could just very well give way. But my point is, I'm showing you that when people say you cannot give both sides of the market, the beauty is once you're fully hedged and you've secured profits and your stop losses are in break even, I'm more than happy to see price move upwards or downwards, because if it's in line with the overall trend and movement, a pullback, I'll simply add more positions or execute it on a different platform. Whereas if price just continues rocketing higher from this level, I'm going to profit anyway. And I'm just showing you now a whole new light to trading, because many people do not know how to trade like this, and many people will not show you this insight into trading. So again, it's just about being transparent and showing a whole new light to what you have been taught, whether that's by mentors, courses you've taken. The whole goal here is to show you a very different aspect. And I'm hoping now this specific week in particular has really proven the difference in the wizard strategies and the wizard content, as they've been coming through very precise. These pullback regions, guys, they are so crucial because many people are not expecting it. Who on earth anticipated the $8,200 pullback? And look at the closure. The candle spiked lower, but the actual closures occurred at 8,200 precisely, rejecting these prior levels, and bang, we actually caught the entries from there, as you can see. Let's go to that BTC movement. So going over to that 4 hour candle, I mean, if you look at the wicks there and the wicks there, absolute precision on those levels. Stop losses are here should we actually pull back. So I've left it just below $8,400. So it's an extra $500 give or take if that does hit. So although it's not exactly here and I could make an extra $1,000 right now, I'm more than happy to just leave this here for the time being in anticipation of that final move. So even if this level falls down and gets tapped, I will simply enter along up to this sort of region here around 8889, move my stop losses all the way up to accommodate any pullbacks, and depending on how price moves, I will even begin looking at potential shorts in the market. My theory here, guys, is exactly what I've been saying for a very long time. Despite what many people have been thinking, I do believe the market could slowly but surely be coming to an end now. So all of these levels here are taken into consideration. Looking at how prior wicks have been forming, I believe this sucker rally here, you have to think about the psychological implications of the $10,000 region. When the mainstream media and the crypto outlets start discussing the $10,000 barrier, that's when the average Joe and the so-called dumb money starts jumping into the market to catch all of those moves, because they believe that first of all they're going to feel FOMO when you start seeing those articles saying Bitcoin 20k next, 50k next, 100k next. We haven't seen a significant pullback in a while, and again we do have to be cautious. Again, the longs that are running, should this thing just blow to like $12,000, I do not really care, because the long positions are running and we can simply continue with our trend bias. But again, it's another reason to just be very cautious of, especially if we see only a tap up to, let's just say 8.8. That would confirm for me a huge reversal possibility. Let me just mark that out for you right there, where that prior candle closed. We'll be monitoring over the next few days those candle closures. So any longs that are entered upon a potential pullback to 8,400, all we'll be doing is monitoring from daily closures only, not 4-hour candle closures, but mostly daily candle closures, how price will be reacting around specific levels. And should it actually hold this region here, by all means, I am going short. I am actually still sticking to every single principle I've told you and every single ideology. Even if we start nearing $10,000, I feel the dumb money will be trapped in. This will be another huge trap by the CME futures clan and the people who are actually behind and manipulating the market. I believe this is a final rally before we start dipping down to the $6,000 region. So I'm just going to be honest with you, I'm actually leaving every single one of these regions open right now for a potential reversal. So looking at this here, the absolute precision on this level. Guys, if this pulls all the way back, you are literally looking at the $2,000s to the $1,000 regions, especially by the time it actually reaches this level. This could, for all we know, actually fulfill my original expectations of this market dipping down. And I believe this is why the bull run could be occurring next year. I'm not too confident yet. I'm just still, something is just telling me this will not be a possibility just yet until we see further confirmation. There's been a lot of discussions regarding how fast we've actually managed to climb up to 9,000 versus 2017. But the truth is, in 2017, it was unknown and unmarked territory. So it took a much longer time because it was all-time highs. Whereas right now, this is simply prehistoric price action and key levels of support and resistance. The price can very easily climb to those levels. It's like saying, look how long it took us to get to this level, but then look how quickly we got back down to these levels here in the space of around 12 to 18 months. So you have to take all this into consideration. Looking at this here, still very open for all these levels. At least, I believe at least when the pullback occurs, we are going to be seeing $6,000. But I believe from there onwards, that should be peaking around $4,600. I still have 4,600 well in my sights, looking at how this occurs from here. In the worst case scenario, we could actually, by the time we close, hit that $2,000 to $1,500 region I've been covering for a very long time. And that there would be the final catalyst for a bull run. I believe that would really drain the market of all euphoria. It would really wipe out the bulls. And for the remainder of 2019, we could very well be ending bearish. So again, critical levels, these weekly candle closures are slowly but surely showing exhaustion. But again, leaving all of these down, this is nothing to really worry about now until we start seeing how price reacts. If we see a strong weekly candle closure, all I'll be doing is looking at movements like this, as we've been doing many times before. Little pullback. Let's say the weekly candle closes and completely engulfs this candle here. I'll be looking at pullbacks to around $8,400 or $8,350. And then from there, we will begin entering shorts again and again and again. We'll be riding this whole wave down to at least $6,000. So again, still sticking to my guns. I haven't changed bias at all. This is looking like it's going to become very unsustainable now. We are slowly seeing more red candles in the market. The momentum by all means is slowly but surely dying down as well now. So we have a huge counter trend here forming. The theory is we break. We actually either retest wherever that may be around these regions. First, we see the pullback, the pump, potential break. And once we break this counter trend, to be honest with you, well, it's going to be a very sad story indeed when many people get wiped out the market for sticking to the euphoria for too long. Any person that doesn't really believe the market is due a pullback is simply being a bit deluded and irrational. So just putting all these facts into consideration, guys, the minute this level is broken, I am by all means getting my shorting boots on, ready to catch this entire wave down. But in saying that, let's actually still remain focused on the upside because that's where the trades are running. And for the meantime, any of these regions here, 8-4, should we see that come through by the end of the day, by all means, that order's there. Just snap, pull back up, and let's see what can happen from there. The minute these moves are triggered, again, when you're adding more positions, when you haven't actually caught it, if it's these positions here where you've caught from the very lows, then you can leave your stop losses quite wide when they're preempted manipulative levels. When there are entries like this, even dropping down to here, your stop losses have to be very tight and secure immediately. You cannot leave too much room. That means these trades that I try and preempt, these pullback levels, you will notice you almost barely have drawdown because they're so precise, and price almost instantly causes a reaction and bounces from these levels. So sometimes they can come through and they can seem very unrealistic, but when they do come through, hopefully it proves to you now why it's actually worth the backlash of being patient and kind of holding back. Let's just say when people say it's not going to come through, nobody really believed this would fall all the way down from $9,100 to $8,000. That's an $1,100 move, but it does. And I was able to preempt this by simply calculating prior levels of support and resistance. It's very simple. This level here, after we broke out was never retested, but people are not taking this into consideration. The same way this ground here, we've broken through. For all I know, this level could be coming through, rejected one last time. There's a trend line here as well to take into consideration, so it could very well be happening. And if we extend it to the cheating trend line, then it does make sense. There's a pullback to a trend line potentially occurring, continuing the final rally, maybe even retesting this around here. So let's just say it retests around here. That could be by the 5th of June. It's currently the 3rd of June, so in a matter of 2 days, we could be seeing around $9,400 met. So we feel one last movement up, testing $9,400, then bang, we break through. Once we hit 9.4, I am definitely going to be shorting. So if we do reach that level, there will be shorts entered from me. I'm not really willing to play the market any further than what's already going on. And then from there, once we start seeing confirmation of potentially lower lows or lower highs, we can just continue riding this wave as we have been doing here as well. So watching out for all these tricks and traps. XRP, only thing to take into consideration, if this breaks, just await a pullback of 0.445, and then we can continue riding that long up to around 0.47. But for me, I do not like entering anywhere near these regions. For me, that is not sufficient. I only add further positions upon huge pullbacks like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. That for me is suitable. For me, there are lows around this region. I would rather wait to see if there's a stop hunt and the ever so famous new terminology, wick fishing, which I am going to have to trademark at some point. I think wick fishing over here, anything that wick fishes and wipes out the price, hits an external level of support and resistance. And for me, I even feel the trend line will be invalid and it will fake it out to around 425 to 0.43, where you can begin adding positions. And that's when you really maximize those precise entries, and you're basically minimizing risk by a massive amount because your stop losses can be a lot tighter, and at the same time hugely maximizing your reward when you're catching a much larger move all the way back up to your projected regions, vice versa to the downside as well. 4-hour candle on this, again, wick fishing galore right now. Let's see if at least 8450 can come through. So if I am too busy, I will simply move this back up to around 8450 just to cover myself and see how that unfolds. So for now, let's leave that around there. If it does come through, it will be a very, very good trade indeed. So overall, I'm hoping you guys can now see how, again, just by being a little bit patient, just by sitting back, letting the market come to you, ignoring everything else and anything external that's been said or mentioned, you can normally catch the bent trends of the market. Crypto Twitter, the minute this level broke out, let me draw this back up to here. I even said, even when it does break out, just be patient and await a potential pullback. So this is what happened first. When price broke out, I said at least wait for a pullback of this box. If you wanted to enter longs here, you would have had your stop loss tight, as I did. And that's why I was saying as well, stop losses do not matter to me because they're normally closed out, break even or profit. Many people entered on a breakout. It just taps that level, closed there, broke below, wasn't too confident on that move. Lord behold, it melted all the way down. So it was a very clear indicator not to go long just yet. And then once you've wiped out every single euphoric bull, back up we go. And now we could be seeing a final wick hunt. Many people that are getting excited from this movement could be quickly humbled because, as you can imagine, this is what I was saying as well. This is why it's so important to take profits, because people do not saturate profits from the market. And I can guarantee you, all of these people that have even caught moves from here or there, they were wiped out from this move here. So that's why I'm saying, when you see Twitter, you see Instagram, whatever you see, and people are claiming, feel like you're missing out because everyone's showing these trades they've caught. Have you noticed no one on crypto Twitter or no one shows you profits? They do not even show you the trades they take. And that's because when they're running these moves, they are unrealized. You have to realize the difference between unrealized and realized profit and losses. All they are showing or claiming to be happy about is unrealized gains or unrealized profits. And then the market, because they never take profits, the market quickly humbles them by slamming all the way back down. And again, anyone that entered here or there would have just been wiped out anyway. They would have just pretty much broken even. So anything you see here is why I take profits. I guarantee you, this move alone, we have probably made more money. If you shorted this, you made more money than anyone catching these moves. If you longed this, you made even more money than anyone catching the majority of these moves as well. If you're following the guidelines I've given you, you've been saturating profits from the market. You're now running risk-free. So overall, your trades will just be in a very good situation. And hopefully, because I will not be showing much of this insight again for a while, I just wanted to kind of break the air and show you guys what actually happens behind the scenes with the Wizard team and what's happening with the Wizard platform, etc., and how I actually trade legitimately. So hopefully it's showing you a bit more of an interesting insight. So for now, let's see if this can all unfold. But regardless, I do believe shifting into the end of the week or next week, we are going to have to start looking and anticipating potential pullbacks in the market. By all means, for me, the daily candle closures are more important than anything else for now. So hopefully within the next 2 days, we see 9,200 to 9,400 met. And then from there, I can start anticipating what could be a trendline retest that's been broken and then a huge meltdown towards $6,000. From there onwards, guys, I will basically wait for this level here. If we start breaking through 9,400, then I will just simply continue with the bullish bias, move my stop losses higher, and we will just continue catching new long opportunities upon the pullback regions I cover. But I do think it's time to become a bit sensible, kind of deter away from the whole bullish bias. It's just been going on too long, and there will have to be a pullback to humble people very soon. So by all means, if we can catch that pullback as well, I'm more than happy to see that unfold. So guys, that's it for now. It's now 2:30 a.m. here in the morning. Hoping to monitor this now until around 4 or 5 a.m. as I will be up finalizing some more Wizard content as well. Again, going through some trades, etc., different lessons, working on the platform behind the scenes, which is pretty much all complete now anyway. So more to come on that very soon. But for now, hopefully this has cleared up what's been a well overdue market breakdown.